One person is confirmed dead. The number of total victims, there's still a question mark there, but the chief saying 10 to 15, possibly up to 15 victims in this. We do not know their conditions. It is also very possible that one of the suspects, at least one, was tackled and subdued by fans there at the rally. 800 officers in the area there when this shooting took place, just on the west side of Union Station, as this day of celebration was just about to wrap up. Hundreds of thousands of people in and around the downtown Kansas City area for this, but again, from the police chief there, who says she is angry at what happened because this is not Kansas City, but again, 10 to 15 injured and one person confirmed dead. At this point, we will go ahead and begin our 4 o'clock newscast. I will kick it over right now to Jacob and Lane. Guys.
She comes running and she's like, no, it's shots fired.
I was just telling everybody to get down, and then like get out the way, and the officers were coming around.
We saw the police swarm a stairwell, and then we heard another pop from there. We did see 2 police officers lead someone away in handcuffs.
The whole side of the street started running right. So just mass hysteria going all around.
Right after the gunshots went off, we just heard like a ton of police sirens. And that's when I kind of knew that they were gunshots and not fireworks or anything.
Mass hysteria. Just people freaking out. This is a day that we come together to celebrate, and unfortunately it ended in something tragic.
From 12 News, breaking news.
Welcome to 12 News at 4. I'm Lane Alter.
I'm Jacob Albrecht. We began this afternoon with the breaking news from Kansas City at what was supposed to be a celebration of a Chiefs Super Bowl today that has turned far worse into tragedy. Shots fired during that parade and rally at the very end of the celebration at Union Station. What we do know, you caught a live press briefing, and we're welcoming in everybody now who's joining us on the KSCW, that one person is dead. Police say up to 10 to 15 people were shot and are injured. Those conditions we do not have. We have Team 12 coverage there. Our own Max Dutton was right near that scene when this happened. So Max, from a first-hand account, what do you know about what you heard, saw, and what can you tell us?
And Jacob, our car was actually parked about 20 yards away from when this happened. We were sitting in the front seat. We heard a lot of gunshots, sometimes even sounds like fireworks for a lot of people. You kind of saw people scatter across. I want to set the scene, though, to show you what it was. Now, right where our car was, as soon as we heard those gunshots, we did get out of the car. We kind of walked down to see what was going on. People were scattered all over. Where the police presence are right now is where we did see one victim on the ground. We did see a gun by that victim as well. That victim was then carted off. Now, just about 15 minutes after that, we were getting ready to set up another live shot, and that's when a second batch of police started running inside Union Station. They then headed inside to something else going on there. We were then moved back as media, and we've been here since then. Now, even about 3 o'clock after we were set up, we saw more police officers head west towards I-35 on the track that our photographer's Rami is giving for you right now, kind of to where those police are currently. They were in that area for 15 to 20 minutes. Still don't really know what they were doing over there, but that was kind of the scene we saw. A lot of people crying, scattered. At first, I think it did take a lot of people moments to realize what it was. Like we said, some people have been describing it as fireworks. We thought someone threw a firecracker cluster, and we just saw people like a circle just run from every direction.
Now, we've had multiple different questions of kind of what happened after that. There's still a lot of questions left unanswered. We do know one person dead, 10 to 15 injured. That status on those injured still unknown at this time, Jacob.
Max, I do want to ask you a follow-up question. So we heard the police chief ask this, and we've seen these videos circulating on social media of fans tackling somebody. Certainly looked like it was somebody running away from the police. I don't know where that was to where you are, but did you see anything like that as this was happening? Because that's one of the more widely spread things right now that we're seeing online.
We can show you exactly where that happened. Now, I'm going to have my photographer walk with me down here. You can kind of see where some of those news vans are. That's where that took place. When we got off the scene, we probably were in that area within about
3 to 4 minutes after we heard the gunshots ring out, and at that point it was kind of a scattered mess, but we did see a lot of people kind of in that area on the ground, and we actually had a woman come up to us and said they have someone down over there. That's what got us to kind of go down into that area. And then after that, like we said, we were set up right where one of the victims was lying down. Then they moved us again. That's when they ran back inside Union Station. So very active scene there. Right now, a lot of it not as active, but like we said, there are hundreds of thousands of people here for this rally, and in just a matter of minutes, it looks like this. Jacob.
All right, Max, thank you. We'll get back to Max later in the newscast. Right now, we also have Sean logging there in Kansas City. He was in a very different area as this is happening. Sean, what did you see?
Yeah, Jacob, we are actually several blocks away from Union Station, but this is the area where people were coming to get away from that situation. Definitely a startling way to end a day of celebration and jubilation for many people. Now, I was able to speak with several people that were coming this way to get away from that situation. They tell me that they were just shocked and disappointed that this is something that had to happen. A college student who tells me that she was leaving with her friends when they heard the initial shots, at least 5, they say. Now, it was there that she witnessed the police quickly moving into an area where her and her friends were near.
And we saw the police push the barricade and start to sort of jump over the ledge, like kind of where the Union parking garage is. Right after the gunshots went off, we just heard like a ton of police sirens, and that's when I kind of knew that they were gunshots and not fireworks or anything.
Emery tells me something else that upsets her was just there was a number of families at this event, so many of them had to scatter as well, which was difficult to imagine with young children. She also says that just with nearly 1 million people at this event, the shooting just defies reason.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. Now, Haley Tucker is in the newsroom breaking down what we know about those who have been detained.
So a lot of information coming in as these things happen now, especially with social media. Haley, what do we know so far?
Yeah, Jacob Lane, so this is obviously a very fluid situation. We're learning more details by the minute about those who have been arrested. We just heard from the Kansas City police chief within the last 10 minutes. She says 2 people were quickly apprehended after those shots were fired. And here's a look at a video just into our newsroom from our partners in Topeka of one of those people. We do want to make it clear here, so we don't know the circumstances of this arrest, but we do know, again, shortly after those shots were fired, 2 people were detained, including this man you see on your screens here. There was also video, like Jacob said earlier in the newscast, we are currently trying to get a hold of citizens tackling a potential suspect to the ground, then police arresting them as well. The police chief said in her news conference a couple minutes ago there were 800 officers in the area where the shooting happened, and those suspects were detained quickly. And we also wanted to share this with you. Chiefs players who were celebrating up on the stage as the parade was wrapping up, tweeting their prayers tonight. Patrick Mahomes tweeting, praying for Kansas City. Drew Tranquil also posting, please join me in prayer for all the victims in this heinous act. Pray that doctors and first responders would have steady hands and that all would experience full healing. And Donovan Smith posting, praying for everyone today in Kansas City. Again, right now, we know at least 2 people have been detained in this mass shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs celebration today.
Haley, thank you. Several top Kansas elected officials were at the rally. You saw the Kansas City mayor there speak right before we came on. Senator Roger Marshall also in attendance, tweeting this afternoon that he was devastated and angered by the senseless act of violence that turned a day of celebration for the community into a complete tragedy. Governor Laura Kelly tweeting that she was evacuated and is safe and out of harm's way. And again, we've been told that all the Chiefs players and coaches are safe as well. So here's what we know. 1 person is dead, and anywhere from 10 to 15 people have also been shot this afternoon in a mass shooting during the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory rally at Union Station. We do not know the circumstances of what led to the shooting, but we do know at least 2 people were taken into custody, and fans, hundreds of thousands of them, were urged to exit the area as quickly as possible. Much more coverage of this situation coming for you here on 12 News. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching 12 News at 4 on KWCH and KSCW. Online at KWCH.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you could watch the news anytime, anywhere, Wouldn't that make life better, help you stay informed, and keep you prepared? Cut the cord and download the 12 News Connected app on whatever device you use. Never wait when you can watch. Always on Storm Team 12, 24/7. Stream live newscasts and catch breaking news when it happens, as it happens. Play it safe and don't wait when you can stay up to date and connected with the 12 News Connected app.
This week is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, and Storm Team 12 wants to help you be prepared for the upcoming season. This morning, Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen shows us the difference between landspouts and tornadoes.
Tornado and landspouts look identical to the untrained eye, but there are some very big differences between the two. With a classic tornado, you have a rotating column of air that stands vertically, and it's attached to a supercell thunderstorm that has a rotating updraft. Landspouts usually look like tornadoes, but the overall setup is very different. There is a non-rotating updraft, and they're usually tied to a cold front. Landspouts don't last very long. They often create no significant or widespread damage, while tornadoes, on the other hand, can sometimes lead to significant damage. Alert. And we're coming back on the air with a couple of areas of concern right now. One of them being in the Pawnee Rock area, but it looks like a tornado warning is coming out for this storm that's to the south of Larned. It's a storm that has been trying to rotate now, starting to ramp up a little bit more here in the last 10 to 15 minutes. This is going to be for a storm that's in the southern part here of Pawnee County. This is going to be south of Larned. You can see the circulation that's kind of starting to exhibit itself now east of the Garfield area. And when we switch over into the wind mode here of radar, just so you can see what we're looking at behind the scenes, there's the red outline. So there's our tornado warning. This is going to be basically east of the Garfield area and well to the southwest of Larned. Now, Larned is part of the tornado warning, but the circulation is going to be well south and west of there. Let's go in even a little closer here and see exactly where we're getting this stronger circulation, which to me looks like it's west of Highway 19.
I have none. I have no hope.
Pretty heartbreaking story here. So when it comes to scams, our FactFinder investigators often hear from many of you who say they would never fall for it. That was the case for a Wichita woman until she received a text telling her she needed to secure her bank account.
FactFinder Dylan Domingue tells us what happened next, and that led her to losing thousands of dollars.
Dylan, I'm at a total loss.
Shauna Purdue says it all started with a text. That text claiming to be from Apple Security, telling her that her Apple ID was used to spend $143.95. The message seemed legitimate, saying the request looked suspicious, and if she wanted to protect the privacy of her account, to call a number.
I didn't do that. That's not me. So, yes, I need to call.
She says the man on the other end of the phone told her hundreds of hackers were trying to break into her account, and the only way to protect herself was to move the money in her bank account around.
There was no red flag. There was not even a yellow flag that went up. I didn't get any feeling that this was not legitimately Apple Security.
But the scammer was using a phishing technique. The caller had her load her Venmo wallet with money, where he was able to take it from there. Still not knowing she was being scammed, Shauna was told she still needed to do more.
Go to Home Depot and buy gift cards.
And while Shauna did question that, she said the caller sounded smart and had convinced her to go to 2 different Home Depot locations in Wichita and spend a total of $3,500 on gift cards. Looking back, she knows that was a mistake, but she said in the moment, the bank and the workers at the stores did not question her spending.
I just feel so stupid, so foolish, so taken in, so violated, actually.
With the man still on the phone, she read off the numbers on the back of those gift cards. She thought all of this was saving her account until she saw the purchases and Venmo statements that were posted to her bank account, meaning she had lost her money.
They took everything.
You can see that emotion there. Shauna did file a report with the Federal Trade Commission and Wichita Police. She also called her bank, but they told her because she willingly authorized the payments, she won't get the thousands of dollars that she lost back. Now, Shauna said days later, the man tried to call her back, but this time she knew not to answer and now wants to make sure that you don't fall for the scam like she did. Apple support says they will never ask you to pay with gift cards. If you do get a suspicious message that claims to be from Apple, screenshot it and email it to the address on your screen. Also, block the number to make sure you don't get more calls and messages like Shauna did. The donations continue to pour in for Shauna Purdue. Many of you telling us that she reminds you of someone in your own family, and that's why you want to help. So far, dozens of donations have been made, totaling well over $10,000. And it's a story that's making us all Kansas proud. And so far, more than $12,000 have been raised for you.
You're kidding.
It was the news we couldn't wait to share with Shauna Purdue. Her reaction? Priceless. A mixture of tears and smiles while learning that thousands of dollars have been donated to her.
I can't even take it in. I'm stunned. As the British say, I'm gobsmacked.
Shauna says the last few weeks have been difficult. After falling for an Apple security scam over the phone and losing more than $8,400, she wasn't sure where to turn to for help.
I've got this big gaping wound, and I don't know that it's going to ever heal.
She called FactFinder, and after our story aired, Kansans answered that call, asking how they can help. The overwhelming responses prompted her family to start a GoFundMe. In the days that followed, from the GoFundMe to other private donations, more than $12,000 have been donated, far exceeding the amount that was taken from her.
There still are good people in this world, when I very much doubted it.
Shauna says this experience has forced her to keep her guard up, but seeing the support she's received goes a long way in restoring that trust.
You people have amazed me, and I'm so very, very thankful to each and every one of you.
And you can still donate to Shauna's GoFundMe at this time. You can find a link to it up on our KWCH website and on our 12 News app.
Another G4 solar storm hitting the planet later on tonight, and over the next couple of days, there's a chance we could see the auroras. Satellite and radio blackouts will be possible. To view the auroras, you want to get far away from city lights, no light pollution whatsoever. Long exposure cameras are going to be needed, and the best time to see it, 8 p.m. to midnight tonight and Friday night. But here's a chance of who could see it across the entire country, maybe even portions of the deep south, just because of how strong this solar flare is. Here's sights to expect. I took this picture with the last G4 storm back on May 10th of this year.
Heads up, Wichita, water restrictions officially begin today. So take a look. They've divided it up into 4 sections here. Northwest Wichita, Mondays are your day. Then it moves to Northeast Wichita on Tuesdays, Southwest on Wednesdays, and then Southeast on Thursdays. Keep in mind, you can't water during the day, even if it is your day to water. They want you watering early morning hours for the best results. A lot of surrounding cities also affected by this. We have it all listed and broken out for you on the 12 News app and at KWCH.com.
Krista Helm is the biological mother of 3 girls. One of those girls is Natalie Marie Garcia. After some personal issues, Helm relinquished her parental rights in 2018. All 3 of those girls were adopted by Christina and Joe Schwar the next year. After the adoption, Helm had no contact with the girls, and Natalie's name was changed to Kennedy. Shortly after that body was discovered buried in the Schwar's backyard, Helm's DNA was taken to compare against those remains. Those results confirming Helm's worst nightmare.
These were my kids who knew their family, who knew their names to begin with, because Kennedy is not Kennedy, she is Natalie Marie Garcia. Right now I'm angry. I'm furious.
If you're not careful, we're busy. This intersection is
very fast
and has.
You never know what you're going to see, whether it's a wreck or just about anything.
Or some turkeys.
We try to go out there and stop him. He tends to get a little aggressive sometimes.
I mean real turkeys. Just one, actually.
He's kind of special, I think, to all of us.
You know, she's just the star of the whole show.
Since early February, this turkey has been calling the intersection of Central and Greenwich home.
He wanders up and down, and we see him pecking at our door, pecking at our windows. He loves to look at himself.
On this day, I found him shopping for cars.
He's just kind of comes and roams around in the parking lots, does his own thing, checks up on cars.
And if all this wasn't confusing enough, this seems to be a turkey with an identity crisis.
Well, we call him GG for gobble gobble.
We call her Ronald because, you know, some of us have different inclinations about the gender of the turkey.
At the first, we thought it was a hen, so I named it Felicia. I have now learned that it's not a hen, that it's an adolescent male.
There was somebody on the internet called him Pablo.
Whatever his name, this turkey has a bit of a reputation already.
Some days he is out in the street and chasing vehicles.
He has no fear of the traffic.
And he thinks that's his territory.
A turkey, just trying to find his place in this world.
We really love having her around, being able to see her every day.
That's brought people in this part of Central and Greenwich.
Just like having a pet. It's a topic of conversation to start the day for sure.
All because of one turkey.
We do worry about him. He's kind of become like the little work mascot or whatever. It keeps morale up.
Who stole the hearts of everyone in this area.
She's just a gem.
In Wichita, George Taylor, 12 News.
On a windswept Kansas day, the tools are prepared and the search begins.
This is the dream come true. This is why I bought the land.
Pull beyond where you want to miss.
This field school led by Dr. Lauren Norman with the KU Department of Anthropology with 6 students and volunteers. They've descended on the land once home to the Bloody Benders along the historic Osage Trail just north of Cherryvale.
The story isn't over. The history is done, but it's not over. It's not finished. And that's really cemented in this project because, I mean, there's no house here, but look how many people have been gathered just for digging an empty field.
In the early 1870s, a family of 4, the parents, son John, and most famous of them all, daughter Kate, remembered for their propensity to kill and rob weary travelers, welcoming them into their home before hitting them over the head, slitting their throats, and dumping their bodies into the cellar to be buried here later.
To do this work here is a way of honoring, I think, those people, the people that lost their lives.
After the Bloody Benders were discovered, the 4 fled and vanished, but tourists soon descended and quickly cleared away what remained.
This is a really cool site because of the story, but also because we have such great interest. So we have a lot of people working on genealogy, the history, kind of their own family's connection.
Adding more to the story, this has been a long time coming for the land's current owner, Bob Miller, who bought it 4 years ago.
We know what happened, but we don't know where it happened, and find out what the ground has been hiding for 150 years.
After extensive prep work, the time has come to start the archaeological dig.
To most people, it's just junk. You know, to us, it's really important data.
Slowly peeling back dirt to discover bits of history, to uncover evidence of the home, stable, outhouse, and this larger mystery.
A lot of archaeology is about the artifacts, but at least half of what we know comes from where we find the artifacts. And so recording their context, keeping good records is all part of it.
After carefully cataloging everything that's been found here, the next step will come over the next few months as everything is analyzed to see how it fits into the Bloody Benders story.
It's real exciting because you wonder when you find like a rivet or a square nail, was this part of the cabin? Was it a horse bridle that had belonged to one of the victims?
Beyond adding to the story of the Benders, this field school is a rare teaching opportunity for Dr. Norman and her students.
Archaeology really is learned in the field.
Students like Dylan Allen, who was out here last summer conducting ground surveying.
I haven't gotten the opportunity to do much digging, and so like being able to put everything that I've learned in school to the test, it's very satisfying.
As the Bloody Benders story is far from complete, this work is carefully trying to unearth the truth.
This isn't going to be the end of the story for sure. This is just the beginning stages of it. Long process, but hopefully a very fulfilling and rewarding one.
Because it's unknown what pieces of this story remain buried in this land. North of Cherryvale in Lebec County, Sean Logging, 12 News.
That's good. Hey, we got a guest.
Oh, hey.
So big, Steve. Here you go.
I know your light on earth was trouble.
So I'm thankful that he had those doors open, not only for his career and our family and our daughters and the legacy Josh will leave, but also the just the legacy it's allowing Leland to have.
I wanted to share his story because it's a part of who I am now. My wife, my family. I mean, it's always hard because people say, you know, how many kids do you have? And we've gotten real good at saying, you know, we have 5, we have 4 here with us and 1 in heaven, or as I like to say, he beat me home.
Son, your work on earth is done.
When it happened, I mean, it was in 2020. He was born and passed away on my birthday. And we had Easter Sunday a week later, and COVID had just hit, and it was just a mess.
You go in to have a baby, you don't expect to leave empty-handed, and but you never really understand what all goes on. When you're not taking your baby with you, and you see how tiny they are, and you see how fragile they are, and you know that nothing you've already bought them is going to fit. But then, in the middle of your grief, in the middle of spending what little time you do have with your child, a nurse walks in and has this cradle that fits your baby exactly.
Go to heaven, shout.
I know for our hospital, they didn't make a big deal about where it came from. I asked. They said it's a ministry. They send them out to hospitals all over the world. And so that's really all I knew of it. But I knew that somebody cared enough to make this tiny cradle and gown and little bonnet cap for my son to wear to leave the hospital with dignity and just wrapped in love. The support for Wave of Light from the Wichita community just seems incredible, and it's giving people the opportunity that I don't think a lot would have to honor their children, their babies that matter, their lives matter, their lives have a legacy too. And while we had one type of blessing, Ashley and Bridget's cradles, and just the whole community allowing such an amazing event, I think that just brings such hope and life and love to all of these families.
I'm thankful, I'm especially grateful that this is something that she and I will be able to do together and walk through together and leave, you know, this event knowing that, you know, we were honored, but we also honored our son together. And I carried him along that journey with me the whole time, and even to this moment, you know, he'll forever be a part of our story, and yeah, he'll never be forgotten or left behind or put aside.
Before the fall.